Welcome to 2 Acre Woodworking. Tonight I'm going to be making a 3-tier planter using 4 cedar pickets. The one you see here, I built last week. It's inspired by Cedar River Woodworking. I saw that on his channel. I thought that was a good design to try. I am going to make some modifications to it. The main one being I want this to be a little bit taller. So this bottom planter is a bit further off the ground because right now it's basically a finger's width from the ground here. So I'm going to be increasing the height from 24 to 30 inches. You can still do this using the same 4 pickets. And I think that'll give it a little bit better look. And also I am going to be adding a little bit of styling to the front pieces here with a very simple trick I learned from another channel. So let's get down to it. All right, we're going to start off by taking 3 pickets at the same time. Get all our cuts the same here. We're going to be making cuts at 5 inches, 5 inches, and then 3 16-inch cuts. So 2 5-inch cuts and 3 16-inch cuts. And this is what we'll be using to make the planter boxes themselves. So just going to rip off the rough bit first, make sure I get this all lined up. And we're going to go 5 inches. And I will have plans on the new website that I just made this week. It is 2acre.us. That's TWO acre.us. And the plans will be on the website at 2acre.us/plans. We'll do my first 5-inch cut. There we go. And now we're going to do 3 16-inch cuts. You could use a stop block to make this easier for you, but for this number of cuts, for me it's easier just to mark them and get them done. All right, and we do have 12 inches left over, so that means you could actually increase the size of your planter box if you wished by a few inches on each one. I guess up to 4 inches on each one, depending on how long your pickets are and how good they are. But we're going to stick with this design here for now. So these are going to be 16-inch wide. All right, what we're going to be doing is adding just a bit of a groove in the front picket of these planters here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our blade at a 1/4 inch high at a 45-degree angle. I guess we're not going to do that. Why are you not going any lower? All right, the trick I was going to use required setting the blade at a 45-degree angle and a 1/4 inch height. Apparently, my ancient Facebook Marketplace Ryobi will not go that low at a 45-degree angle. I have to set this to about a 28-degree angle in order to get my blade height to a 1/4 inch. But I'm going to give it a try anyways. So I'm at the best angle I can get, and we're going to set the fence to 2 5/8. This is based on a 5 5/8 picket. If your pickets are different, you will have to do a little bit of math. And we'll see how it looks. We'll try one first. And we're basically just going to rip this at this angle. It should not come even close to going through the board. And then we're going to straighten it up and we'll see what happens. If it fails, then I'll use another picket to make this project. All right, so we got our first cut in there at a groove. There you go. Got our first cut in there at a groove, and then we're just going to adjust the fence 1/8 of an inch and go straight up and down. So we're going from 2 5/8 to 2 3/4, and hopefully that'll give us a nice little effect on here. And when I'm cutting these, I am using the curved side down, if there isn't a bow to it. So that way, when I mount it to the planter, I have 2 good points of attachment. So we're going to bump to 2 3/4. Make sure we're going the same way. Oops. And we're going to straighten up the blade to 0 degrees. And get our blade height back up to a 1/4. All right, we're back up to a 1/4, and we're at 2 3/4, and we're going to give this another rip. All right, now this is, of course, completely optional. Basically, it just gives us the appearance of using 2 boards on the front instead of using 1. There is a bit of a leftover in here because I could not get to 45 degrees on the saw. So if you have a saw that won't go to 45 degrees, I would probably skip this step. All right, I'm going to sand these down a little bit here. before assembly. That, of course, is optional, up to you. And I'll be back when I have them ready to assemble. I've got all my pieces sanded. You can, of course, sand your boards before you cut them if you wish, but whatever you feel like doing. This will be my front here, the one that I put the groove on there correctly. This will be the back. This is the part of the video that's being deleted where I had my fence set wrong. But for the back, I had a little bit extra styling that nobody will see anyways. No sense in wasting the wood. Got my two sides and my bottoms. So I'm going to set you back up on the tripod and we'll start tacking these things together. All right, we'll be putting this together with Titebond III and 1-inch brad nails. I was recycling my Titebond III small bottle, filling up from a gallon bottle, but that thing eventually got clogged up enough where I had to go invest in one of these buggers here, a little Glue Mate 450, like $5 on Amazon, so what the hell. So, put a bottom here. Want to make sure we get our smooth sides out. All right, when we glue, we're going to be going to the outside of these pieces. It's going to be hard to see once I get it down the table there, not to the inside. We'll make the boxes slightly bigger, and it'll make that piece we cut off fit perfectly inside there. Yeah, so put our first little layer of glue here. Line up a board. And we'll put a staple, I guess we'll put 5 on each one of these here. There's one side. Put the back side, which has my slightly incorrect groove. Line that bugger up. All right, then we'll slide our sides in, which should fit perfectly. Everything is done right here. Just about. Glue these up. Get in there. A big knot there. Let's see if I can squeeze in the bottom. You gotta love picket wood. All right, there's the first side. This one came up a hair high. I'll just sand that off. And we'll do the other side. Same thing. Spin it this way so you can see it. And it's kind of using my fingers as a clamp here to keep this tight while I do this. Yeah, so I'm about a 1/8 or a 1/16 of an inch above here. So I'm going to fix that up off camera. And I'm also going to nail up the other 3 boxes off camera because it's basically the same as this box. All right, I got my 3 boxes sanded down, so they're going to get ready to make a stand here. Um, there was a bit of a glitch in the front of one of them from sawing in that groove, but it's rustic. It's not a mistake, it's rustic. The reason why my end pieces here were a little bit high is for some reason these pickets are 5.5 instead of 5 1/8. So that happened, but sanded it down and actually hit all the tops too, so it looks a little bit better. So we're good to go, and now we're going to start ripping the legs. Alrighty, for our legs and supports, we're going to be using our 4th picket, and we're going to rip it into 1.5 inch strips and fire this thing up. And in case you're wondering, no, I do not have a dust collection system yet. That's why I end up in a cloud every time I use this saw. So you're going to end up with about a 1/2 inch of waste here. You could adjust by going a little bit thicker, but 1.5, you're always safe. All right, so if you wanted to go to the original dimensions that were used by Cedar River Woodworking, you would go 24 inches, 2 pieces for your straight back legs, and for your angled fronts, you would be doing 27 3/4 inches, 2 of each of those. For my edit here, trying to make this thing 30 inches high, according to the online calculator that I found, I'll be going 2 times 30, and then 2 times 34 and 5/8. That should hopefully make it level. We're going to find out. If I have to edit that, I'll edit it. I'll rip another piece of wood. So let's see what happens. So for our legs, we're going to go straight pieces at 30. 2 of them for the rear legs. And I don't bother sanding the legs, mainly because I don't like sanding, and keeps it rustic. Not lazy, I'm rustic. All right, going 30 inches. Probably should have shaved that off to make it flush, but it's going to be hitting the ground anyway, so who cares? Oh, my little light. And we're going to duplicate that. All right, there's my 2 straight legs. And for the forward leaning legs, we're going to be at a 30-degree angle And I'm just checking my math again here. We're going 34 5/8 point to point. So I'm going to set the miter to 30. Ah. Totally ain't got no dust collection. Ah. All right. I had to take a little sneeze break there. Um, this table saw does not even have a dust collection port, so and it's mounted on a solid table. So basically, it spits everything right back in my face. That is bumping up on my priority list of things to fix in this shop. In case you haven't noticed by looking around, this is a pretty low budget shop here. But let's get back to work. So we're going 30-degree angles, both in the same direction, and we are going 34 5/8 tip to tip. And as you can see, you will have just barely enough to get your second one as well. And I screwed up. Don't do it this way. Ooh. Well, I screwed up, but I can survive my screw up. There we go. Alrighty. Now we'll see if we're actually going to be level here. Alrighty, so it looks like we actually got the math right here. We got a 30 on that guy. He's a little bit caught up on some crud there, but we got 30 on that one. And 30 on that one. And that's how they'll be sitting on the planter box on the first one there. So the math on that online calculator was right. I'll throw a link to that thing in the description as well, because it's a great tool when you got to figure out angles and math like this. So get back to putting this thing together. So first step, take your box, put it upside down, make sure the pretty way is the pretty way that you want it to be. And we're going to use our straight pieces, and we're just going to tack them in at the end, each end of the box here. This is going to be your back, so whatever you want your pretty side to be, make sure that's in the front. And we're just going to glue and staple. All right, so we're just going to glue and staple on the two back legs, pretty much flush with the back of this. So we know we want about that much glue. Go nice and flush there. Yeah, we got that side on. Do the same to the other side. Nice and flush to the back. All right, then we're going to put on our front legs. So I'm going to go this way for you. All right, so for our front legs, we're going to go the flat bit of this angle on the table, and we're going to line it up just like that. So it pretty much bisects the planter box here. So again, I'm just going to use my fingers to gauge how much glue I want on here. Line that up so they're even, and tack it right into the side of the box. No sense in being shy about how many brads you use. And do the same thing over here. Again, getting my glue line. Put it flat on the table. Compressor brake. All right, a little compressor brake there. And now just to test it, it should stand fairly level. Unfortunately, my table itself is not level because it's about 40 years old. So yeah, I got to get myself a real workbench on here. But 3 legs look good. Let me set it back this way if it'll fit. Yeah, it will. Yeah, all 4 legs hit the ground when it's going in this direction. The table's a bit warped here. So we're part of the way there. Now we just got to add boxes 2 and 3. So the trick that I saw online was to use some chunks of 2x4 for your spacing. And we'll go with this angle here. All right, I'm going to take box number 2. Make sure the end you want on the front is on the front. And we're going to offset this here a bit. So that the front beam, the front support here is pretty much going to bisect it. So I'm actually going to go a little bit more forward than this. So it comes up there. Sorry, these 2x4s are shaking a bit here. So basically, I want the corner, the point here, to be about on the end there. That'll give us a nice spread down here. This will get a whole lot more stable once I throw a staple in it. And I'm just going to mark on the inside of this leg here where I want my glue. A little light pencil. And you will get glue smear when you do this, just to wipe it off. over that side. And I'm going to try and set this in here just about right. Line up the front. Probably work better if I had a longer chunk of 2x4, get more balance off the back. Tack one in there to hold it. Get you lined up. You in there. Yeah. I got it kind of held in place. Eyeball and level. And again, try and get a couple into the bottom support as well. Alrighty. We're almost done. Now we're going to slide these chunks of 2x4 out, if we can. There we go. Now we are going to get a little bit off balance here, probably a bit more so because of the additional length. I'm just going to use some scrap wood to balance this a bit here. Yeah, I'm going to put on number 3, the same way we did number 2. And we got pretty end forward. Ooh, let me get some of this glue off here. I got glue smear all over the place. I haven't found a good way to get it between the legs without getting a good deal of glue on it. But we're going to do the same thing again for number 3. I'm going to move this sideways here a bit. Get a bit more weight on there. All right, then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to figure out how much to glue here. And you could glue the box, but I think it's easier just to glue the legs. And spin this thing around again. Alrighty. Now I'll work this one into place. And again, we're going to line up pretty much to the point here. Got flat on the 2x4s. There we go. All right, once you got that point there, I'm going to tack it if you can reach your nailer. Get in there. Get that held. Spin around this way. Get you in there. it flat and on the point. Get these guys out. And we're just gonna finish tacking this thing into place here. And get rid of that additional excess glue there. That guy wiggled a bit on me when I went to move this, so slap some more brads in her. Alright, so now that we got our structure built here, we're just going to put some additional support on it here. So let me flip this thing around this way. So we're going to put a back support, and we're going to put a support underneath the second planter over to the back support. So let's get some measurements for that. So for our rear support, for my measurements, it says 17 1/4. I'm just going to measure here and make sure that is right. And it is, so that's good. So we're going to cut a 17 1/4 for the back. Take our little divot off. Alright, it's going to be our back support. Alright, and for our side support, this is a 30-degree angle. So we're going to be going underneath here and connecting into the back support. So basically, we're going to be right at the bottom there. So I'm measuring from the front here. Bear with me, I want to go down 1.5 inches. Get my spot. I don't know if you can see that, but I have this measured because this is what's going to be cut off pretty much. And we're going to here. All right, so I'm coming up to 12 1/4 with a 30-degree angle. Going back to our 30-degree angle. This piece is ugly. I guess it'll hold. Measure this on yours, because unless you did it exactly as I did it, it's going to be a little bit different. All right, going back to 0. All right, that's nice and flush. Yep. All right, so I'm going to cut me another one of these. I'm going to flip this over because that wood is kind of wormy on that side. So we're going to go 30. And 12 1/4. So I want to put these on first because it's just easier that way. So we're going inside and under and lining up with this 30-degree angle here, and we are also supporting this planter. My nailer is out of reach. There we go. Get one in here. I forgot to glue that one. We'll just drizzle some down there. A couple of nails in there. Couple in there. And do the same thing to the other side. Yeah, I'm going to glue the other side. And hold that square together. Did have to flex it a little bit to get it in there, but that's how you know you're getting it square. If you got to give it a little bit of a bend. Get a couple more on this side. All right, now we'll just do our back support. And that's why I do the supports first, because then you can just cover that all up with your back here. Now a little bit of glue. Got enough nails. And just center that up there. That attack. All right, and now we're done. Flick off the compressor so it don't interrupt us. I just want to give you a look here side by side of the two variations here. The one on your right was pretty much by the original plans. I did decide to move up that cross brace so it actually offers some support on the second planter, and also balance out the back support so they're all interlocking here. And but the main difference is this version's taller, and it has those little fancy grooves. But I mean that's minor, and that's not even really needed. But the original version, solid build. The only thing I really didn't like was that bottom planter being so close to the ground. And this one here has got her lifted up, and I think it looks pretty good. Despite all the mistakes that were made during the build process, it still came out good. And believe me, if I can do it, you can do it, because I'm an idiot and I'm doing this stuff. So start making some things. All right, if you like this build and you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel. Channel's only been around for about 2 or 3 weeks. Currently sitting at, I believe, 21 subscribers, and I could certainly use more. I'd appreciate that. All the plans for everything I do on this site will be uploaded to 2acre.us/plans, or you can just go to 2acre.us and take a look at the stuff from my main page, 2 Acre Homestead, along with this one, 2 Acre Woodworking. Site has only been alive for 2 days, so it's rough. So don't expect a whole lot, but the plans will be up there. Give me a couple of days to get the plans on this one. If you happen to be watching this on the first day this video came out, I will post the 2 different variations in the plans. So if you want to do the short one over there, You can do that one, or if you want to do the slightly taller one, you can do that as well. And I'll also put a link to that calculator so you can figure out these fancy angles here, which was very helpful in order to get this thing right on the first try. So um, my only advice to you is if you want to build something, build it. If you mess it up, then you know how to make it right the second time. Because we all learn by failing. That's how men work. All right. Y'all have a great day. I'm going to get me some rest and get out of this heat. And y'all take care of yourselves.